Hey, Kyle's Wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's Impact Wrestling from August 18th, 2022, recorded August 13th, the day after Emergence in Chicago, Illinois. The same building the day after Emergence. Emergence was another great event from Impact with two epic world title matches to close out the show. Both Jordan Grace and Josh Alexander retained their titles against very worthy challengers Mia Yim and Alex Shelley. Also, Honor No More survived to stay together as a unit, winning their match. Also, we got a Lucha Libre Classic between Bandido and Ray Horus, as well as Mike Bailey retaining his title against Jack Evans. We had new tag team champions in the Knockouts division as Vexed, Chelsea Green, and Deanna Prazo defeated Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. Unfortunately, that match was moved to the pre-show for whatever reason. But it was a great event. Great stuff there. You can find my review. I accidentally had to do it in two parts as I lost internet just as I was about to talk about the two world title matches. So you can find the two world title matches in the second part review for Emergence over the weekend. But we'll start as usual this week with this week's edition of BTI before the Impact. It's a good way to remind everybody about what's been going on. So it's hosted by Josh Matthews and Gia Miller. And they started off this week by showing the last half of the amazing Impact World title match where Alex Shelley came up just short after using so many great submissions and hitting Shell Shocked, which is the Blade Runner that Jay White used to win the IWGP World Heavyweight title. All of that was not enough to defeat Josh Alexander, who retained the Impact World title. It was one of the best Impact matches all year long. And if you missed the pay per view, you can watch this for free. It's on the Impact channel on the BTI for this week. You don't get the full match, but you do get the last incredible 7 minutes or so. So then later on in this BTI's exclusive match of the week will be Giselle Shaw taking on Rosemary, both of them coming off disappointing losses. Now we see the last few minutes of the X Division title match on Emergence where Mike Bailey beat Jack Evans. This was a good match as well, and I wonder if we'll ever see Jack Evans again in Impact. Speedball got dropped on his shoulder pretty hard in this one, then got that super mad, and Speedball won the match about 10 seconds later. So is it going to catch up to the fighting champion Mike Bailey? Does he have a sore shoulder now? We will see him in action later tonight, so he did look all right, by the way. Next, we see highlights for the wild fight between Sami Callahan and Steve Macklin. They never actually got in the ring to start their match and then brawled in the back for an hour before running into Moose. Then Scott D'Amore made Moose leave once they got towards the ring and started a no DQ match. Eventually, Macklin would end up all bloody and Sami would end up winning the match. But the rivalry between Moose, Sami, and Macklin, for that matter, seems far from over. And we'll see that come to a head tonight as well. Now we see the last minute of the Great Knockouts women's tag title match. Really awesome match where Jordan Grace just barely was able to retain her title. But after the match, Masha Slamovich, the undefeated Masha Slamovich, came out and handed Jordan Grace a death warrant. So the undefeated Masha has her sights on the title next. After that, we got the last minute of the 10-man tag team match, Bullet Club versus Honor No More, where Doc Gallows was pinned by Matt Taven and Mike Bennett at the same time to win the match. And he is out injured now. So keeping Honor No More together and giving them all the title shots they were wanting. So that was a big moment there. Um, they said Gallows is going to be week to week and maybe back in a couple weeks. So the social media top 5 this week is Killer Kelly winning her debut match on Impact last week. Number 4, Gallows throwing PCO off the balcony in that 10-man tag in Emergence. Number 3 was Honor No More winning the tag match. Number 2 was Vexed winning the Knockouts tag team titles. And number 1 was Jordan Grace getting that death warrant. So the clapback moment of the week is Brian Myers telling Bhupinder Gujar that he needs more followers if you want this title after Brian Myers cheated to retain his digital media championship. So this week's Iceman Intel was Jordan won at Emergence, but got the death warrant from Masha with the title set in her sights. So he says that we don't know if the officials will grant Masha that match, but heard that Deanna Purrazzo is going around bragging that the return of the champ might happen soon. So that's interesting. Deonna Purrazzo looking to get the title. She just won the tag team titles. So that would be the champ. Those would be the two titles. So it's time for this week's BTI exclusive match. Coming out first is Giselle Shaw, looking very happy to be done with Masha Slamovich. So Rosemary now comes out having just lost the Knockouts title. She's accompanied by Jessica, which is formerly known as Havoc. Now it's her alter ego, Jessica, who's like the opposite of Havoc, and no Ty Valkyrie with her. So Rosemary takes control right away on Giselle Shaw, and I now notice that Rosemary has new short hair. It looks pretty good, though. It's like orange and black in different spots. Rosemary now bites Giselle in the face, then hits a side slam for a 1 count. Giselle then hits big chops to the chest, and Rosemary blocks a attack with a back elbow here. Then Rosemary applies a headlock with her legs over the rope. Giselle catches her after that with a big kick that hurt Rosemary big time on that one. Giselle now takes control as the crowd cheers for Rosemary to get back into it, and Giselle hits 3 big running uppercuts in a row for a 2 count. Rosemary now gets thrown into the corner hard. Giselle hits a cross body in the corner and then goes up to the top body, hitting another cross body. So then Rosemary kicks out, but again, she's in big trouble here. So Jessica is yelling at Giselle just long enough for Rosemary to get back into it. Giselle was up at the top rope, but got thrown off. Now Rosemary hits 2 clotheslines, but Giselle blocks a third one. Rosemary knocks her down anyway right after that. Then Giselle gets up, blocks a move with some back elbows, but Rosemary pulls the hair here, allowing her to hit a reverse DDT. Giselle's just barely able to kick out of that one. Rosemary now gets Giselle up on the top rope, but Giselle knocks Rosemary down, then leaps off with a flying forearm. Again, Rosemary's just able to kick out at 2, and this is a really good BTI match. So Rosemary now ducks under a knee strike. Jessica's able to distract Giselle again here, and Rosemary hits a spear. But after that, Giselle blocks the move. They both duck under attacks one after another, and then Giselle hits a nasty V-trigger knee strike for the 1-2-3. Holy crap. The winner of this match by pinfall, Giselle Shaw. And wow, Rosemary might be out cold. That was absolutely nasty knee strike right there. So poor Rosemary, things aren't going too well. She lost her title. Now she just got her new haircut. Was probably feeling good about it, and now she got knocked out. So that sucks. Jessica has to carry Rosemary to the back. So then before BTI ends, we get huge news here for tonight's main event. Tonight's main event on Impact will be a 6-way elimination match to crown a number 1 contender for the Impact World title. And then I noticed, holy crap, it's not only for the world title, it's for the main event and the world title at Bound for Glory, the biggest event of the year. So in this 6-way match is Eddie Edwards, Steve Macklin, Moose, Sami Callihan, Bandido, and Rich Swann. So wow, this match is going to be wild, especially with Bandido in the match. And now that I've seen it, they didn't quite do a good enough job of explaining this, but that match is like only 2 are in the ring at a time, and you have to tag in, and you're on the apron waiting to be tagged in otherwise. So that'll be the main event. And again, that is for the main event of Bound for Glory for the world title. So that was the end of BTI. Now, this week's episode of Impact, again from August 18th, 2022, from Chicago, Illinois. We get highlights of the amazing Alex Shelley, Josh Alexander title match. And after that, the Impact opening video plays. Tom and Matt welcome us to Impact, and then DK's music hits. So it's going to be Black Taurus coming out, accompanied by Crazy Steve. And wow, not only that 6-man match in the main event, we're going to start out here with an X Division 4-way match. This should be awesome. So out next is Laredo Kid. And then another awesome move here as Ray Horus has not gone back yet since this was taped just the day after Emergence. Ray Horus, who lost to Bandido at the pay-per-view, is here again. So we get both Ray Horus and Bandido for a second day in a row. That's great stuff. Trey Miguel is the 4th person in this match, and it's going to be a wild one. So Crazy Steve, speaking of wild, actually did his commentary for this match, and he was pretty good. So Steve tells us a little bit of stuff here. Crazy Steve says that Decay has been distracted, and they've forgotten to feed the beast Black Taurus. So definitely talking about all the excursions with Jessica and Rosemary and stuff like that. So anyway, Black Taurus starts this match by getting triple teamed at the start by everyone else. Black Taurus definitely the biggest guy in this match, probably the biggest threat. So then they hit a triple drop kick that sends Taurus out of the ring. Laredo Kid dives outside onto Taurus. Now Horus flips over Trey and then hot shots Trey onto the top rope. So Ray then hits a T Harris, and then Laredo Kid comes in, hitting a flip off the rope, hitting a backbreaker right after that. Laredo now hits another great backbreaker, but a different style this time. Taurus now back in, and Laredo Kid um, hits him flips around him 3 times, then hitting a Mexican arm drag. Now Trey and Taurus battle, and Trey hits big striking combo on him, but Taurus gets right back up and hits a nasty backbreaker. It was like a throw him up, hit him in the back. Trey also landed on his head, getting slammed down hard. So it was a 2-for-1 move for Taurus. Taurus then hits a pop-up Samoan drop on Laredo Kid. Horus now throws Taurus out of the ring, and Taurus catches the dive and then hits a headbutt. So that was pretty cool. Laredo Kid now kicks Taurus, and then Trey leaps over the ropes here, hitting a Hurricane Rana off the apron, sending Laredo into Taurus, and that was super smooth. That was just awesome right there. So in the ring now, Laredo and Trey exchange forearms. They hit some big strikes on each other. Then Trey hits a brainbuster for a 2 count. Horus now hits Trey with a kick. Then Taurus absolutely destroys Horus. So Taurus now misses a jumping knee strike, then flies right outside of the ring because he missed it in the corner. Trey now dives on the Taurus outside the ring, and Horus dives onto both of them, followed by a top rope moonsault from the Laredo Kid on the all 3 men. Back in the ring now, Laredo counters Black Taurus with a crucifix bomb. I thought that was going to be it, but it wasn't. Then Horus hits a DDT on Taurus. Laredo then hits a DDT on Horus, and Taurus hits a Thunder Fire Driver for the 1-2-3. So the winner of this match by pinfall, Black Taurus. And then Crazy Steve tells us that finisher is now called Destination Hellhole. So holy crap, that was a quick little match here, but awesome stuff within it. Great way to start out any show with just a quick little X Division match, multi-man match. But wow, if Black Taurus gets an X Division title shot, that could be a tough matchup for Mike Bailey. Speedball Mike Bailey, the current X Division champion, has been able to get through a lot of people, and he's been on a roll. But someone with the size and the speed of Black Taurus could be a tough matchup for Mike Bailey. And if winning a big match like this definitely gets Black Taurus closer to getting a title shot against the fighting champion. And really good stuff. Glad Horus was here, and hope to get to see more X Division stuff soon. So in the back now, Zicky Dice and Johnny Swinger are watching the Killer Kelly debut from last week, and they're basically turned on by her and are saying "step on me" and stuff. So then Tasha Steeles and Savannah Evans walks up saying that Killer Kelly is a nobody, and then Killer Kelly appears from behind them. So Tasha pretty much talks a little bit of trash here to Killer Kelly, who says, Kelly says, "I don't take anything personal. To me, this is just a fun little game. But if you want to keep an eye on me, I'll keep an eye on you." And then Savannah Evans steps up to Killer Kelly. Kelly says that I'll take you out too. How about a match tonight? So that'll be a match later on. That should be a good match for Killer Kelly because she could actually hit some big high impact moves because Savannah Evans is a big woman that isn't too fragile. You can hit some big moves on her. So that'll be interesting later on. In the back now, Josh Alexander is talking to Rich Swann in the hallway, and Rich is talking about how this championship opportunity tonight in the 6-way match means everything to him. Josh Alexander says, "Well, it would be an honor to defend this title against you at Bound for Glory. You really carried this title through some tough times for Impact." Then Vincent walks in, of all people, and Vincent says, "Oh, you went to war against Alex Shelley, but Impact Wrestling is punishing you again instead of letting you celebrate. They'll run you into the ground. Just ask Rich about that. Honor no more. One at Emergence, and we've already got a tag title shot. But you've been lucky so far, Josh. You'll need friends eventually. Dig what I'm saying?" And then the segment ends. So this goes along with after 2 weeks ago, Eddie Edwards was talking to Josh about how life is an impact on the other side of the mountain once you fall off the top and how it's not so bright. And basically look at me. is what Eddie Edwards was saying. So that was 2 weeks ago. Now Vincent here, that'll be definitely interesting. And because of all these storylines, it definitely would have to put Eddie Edwards as the favorite to win the 6-man title match later. That's definitely what I was thinking because of that, since we even set that up 2 weeks ago now. So also tonight, we'll see Speedball. We're told that Speedball Mike Bailey will be defending the X Division title against former X Division champion Chris Bay of the Bullet Club. So that one's going to be a really good match. But now Honor No More's music hits, and it's going to be a match with Kenny King in a singles match, accompanied by Vincent, who we just saw in that last segment. So now he's all ready for this match, and that's because it's against Heath, who has been the Honor No More hunter. Heath music now hits. These two had a little bit of a thing where Heath got the better of Kenny King once Kenny King got distracted by watching Macklin and Sammy Callahan have a brawl in the crowd. So Heath was able to get Kenny King from behind again on that one. So this is a big rivalry match, and this will be Heath's first match ever since he became the Honor No More hunter, meaning Heath is going to be very overexposed here, and he's going to have to watch his back because this is a very dangerous situation. So Heath jumps to the attack right away because he knows it's dangerous. He needs to get out of here as soon as possible. Heath ducks under a kick and almost hits the wake-up call finisher already on Kenny King, but Kenny blocks it. Then Heath hits a power slam, so Kenny rolls out of the ring. Heath chases after him, but Vincent distracts Heath long enough for Kenny King to dive out of the ring back on the Heath. Then Kenny mounts some punches as we go to a commercial break. Now when we come back, Kenny has a hold on the arm, and we see during the break, Kenny had hit a middle rope blockbuster. So back to live action. Heath evades a springboard drop kick. Then Heath punches and knee strike and a neck breaker. It's all in a row here. Big combo for Heath. Kenny almost doesn't kick out in time, but the match keeps going. Vincent then distracts Heath, and Heath evades a sneak attack here and hits the wake-up call, getting the 1-2-3. Wow, the winner of this match by pinfall, Heath. So that was a super short match. Poor Kenny King getting destroyed here easily. Anyway, immediately after the match, the rest of Honor No More, of course, come down to the ring and surround the ring. And Heath is fighting for his life, but it doesn't take very long for a 6-on-1 beatdown to start. Some of the Honor No More hold Heath after a few seconds, and Eddie wants PCO to hit a big move on Heath. Although PCO then hesitates a little bit here, and this allows Heath to hit a wake-up call on Mike Bennett and allowing Heath to run away. Wow. So big mistake here for Honor No More. They had the Honor No More hunter in their sights on a 6-on-1 beatdown. Eddie should have just kept hitting. They should have. I don't know why he needed PCO to prove himself yet again. And I also don't know why PCO hesitated. I guess it was because PCO has a moral compass or something, because it was a 6-on-1 beatdown. So, oh boy, is Eddie going to be mad at PCO now. So we'll check back in on that at a later point. But back in the back now, it's Sabin, Kushida, and Shelly. And Sabin says, Emergence wasn't the best night for us. All three of us lost. But man, Shelly, you had the match of your life. It was unfortunate you lost. But why did Violent by Design beat us? Because it was 3-on-2. But that won't happen next week because it'll be 3-on-3. Then Alex Shelley says, hey, Kushida, did you want to team with Sabin? Did you want to team with me? Or did you want to fight Violent by Design every week? Definitely not Violent by Design. I was in the tag team with both these men for a long time. Now we are three bodies with one mind. This is Time Machine. And then the segment ends. So, wow, I love that name. It's a perfect mix of Motor City Machine Guns and Time Splitters. And it sounds good rolling off the tongue. Time Machine. And it's also like the whole gimmick of Time Splitters was that they were like Back to the Future, like Kushida is wearing the Back to the Future outfit and stuff. So Time Machine, Motor City Machine Guns, Time Splitters, perfect name. I love that. So Kushida just returned to New Japan right after these tapings. He was at the last two G1 shows this Wednesday and Thursday. He was there along with Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. They were there with the Impact World Tag Team titles. The Good Brothers were representing Impact on the final two nights of G1. It's just in some tag matches where Doc Gallows was getting beat up a lot. So The Good Brothers were not having a good time. The Impact Tag Champions were getting beat twice in a row in New Japan the last 2 days. So anyway, in the back now, Honor No More are all weirdly in a stairwell together. I guess they couldn't find a locker room this time. Eddie Edwards says, "What is going on? We beat Honor. We beat Bullet Club. We should be celebrating that. I have a number one contenders match tonight. We should be celebrating that. But how did we let this happen?" Mike Bennett then says, "And now Doc is injured. We don't even get our title shots yet." So OGK, that's Bennett, Taven, and Maria, they walk into Scott D'Amore's office after this. And Taven says, "When is our title shot?" Scott says, "Doc is out for a couple weeks." Maria then says, "Really? You're just delaying the inevitable. Bullet Club is just lazy. I don't have time for that. So just make it a handicap match." Scott D'Amore then says, "Oh, you always want unfair odds, huh? Well, next week, Carl Anderson against Mike Bennett in a singles match. And if Anderson wins, Maria is banned whenever they do get their title shot. So big match set up for next week. Carl Anderson, the never openweight champion, where Mike Bennett might get a claim for that title as well if he can get a win in that match. But if they don't get the win, then Maria is banned for whenever their title match happens. So we've got women's action next as Savannah Evans comes out, accompanied by Tasha Steelz. Savannah Evans still has that cheap looking gear. She's got some of the cheapest looking gear in all of Impact. Somebody really needs to pay her a little bit more money. Anyway, hopefully Tasha Steelz doesn't go on commentary because she's usually bad at that, but she doesn't, thank goodness. So last time we saw Savannah Evans, it was on BTI where she almost broke the neck of Alicia Edwards. It was scary. I'm like, oh my God, when I saw that. So anyway, Killer Kelly now makes her great entrance. It's got like almost like reminds me of original Kane with all the darkness and red lighting, and it really goes good with her red hair. So Savannah Evans does not seem intimidated, however, and then Killer Kelly applies a sleeper hold right as the match starts. Evans is much bigger though and uses her size to throw Kelly right off. Evans now hits a spear in the corner, knocking the wind out of Kelly, but Kelly evades the next attack, hitting a big combo. Killer Kelly is being completely like, I don't know how to describe this, perverted about pain this entire match so far. She's being a big time weirdo and just being like, everything's turning her on. It was awkward. Anyway, Killer Kelly now hits a headbutt to the arm and then a shotgun dropkick into the corner. Savannah Evans is able to kick out. Now Killer Kelly's like touching Savannah Evans' hair even more pervertedly here. This was awkward. Anyway, she tries to lift Savannah Evans up, but Evans blocks it and then hits a big lariat. Then Evans hits a nasty German suplex right after that. And for the second match in a row, Savannah Evans almost broke somebody's neck because Killer Kelly landed on her neck hard here. Killer Kelly is able to counter the next move anyway and then apply the Killer Clutch. That's the same as the Cobra Clutch that Sergeant Slaughter used to use for so many years. Evans is trying to get to the ropes, but eventually is forced to tap out. So the winner of this match by submission is Killer Kelly, who again is being more perverted about like loving pain or wanting pain as well. At one point, she put Savannah Evans' hands around her own throat. It was just unlike anything I've ever seen in a wrestling ring. I'll give her that. It's something different. Anyway, Killer Kelly doesn't even let go of the hold after the match. She's just in like an orgasmic state. I don't know how to describe it, but eventually Kelly lets go of this, and Tasha's now talking trash, and the segment just ends. So it looks like Tasha Steelz is going to be next in line. Eventually, this has to lead to Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich at some point, maybe at Bound for Glory. That sounds like a big Bound for Glory match right there, if I've ever heard one. So in the back now, Rosemary is nervously laughing here, having just lost the tag team titles. She's here with Taya Valkyrie and Jessica. So Rosemary says that Havoc would have helped us, but you're just Jessica. So we're going to have to retrain you and then recapture the tag team titles. So Jessica says, well, I've already talked to management and I've gotten my debut match next week. So then Rosemary says, all right, I'll take this one because when you two are together, she loses focus. So, and then don't say the M word. So I don't know what the M word is, but anyway, Taya Valkyrie is going to go shopping, and Rosemary takes Jessica away when they go to commercial break. So at least we got these three in a segment this week, unlike last week where they had a big title match the next night. They didn't even get a segment on the show before it, and then they were bumped over to the pre-show as well. So basically, now that the tag titles are gone, it seems like the story is going to be all about Jessica now that they've retrieved her from the undead realm. It's the alter ego of Havoc, Jessica, who Taya seemingly knows more about this than Rosemary, which I've been saying from the very beginning. This is all Taya's fault for sure. Whatever happened to Jessica, and I'm guessing at some point Taya and Jessica are gonna turn on Rosemary. I don't know how it's gonna work, but at some point I feel like Taya is gonna hold power over Jessica. That's my feelings anyway. But it'll be interesting to find out what happens. And that's all we see from them this week. So after the ad break, in the back with Gia Miller is Knockouts champion Jordan Grace. Jordan says, um, yeah, Masha gave me the death warrant, but I didn't win this title to hide from competition. Right now, Masha Slamovich is at the top of the list, and I can't speak for Mia, but after that match, she has all of my respect in the world. So then Vex, that's Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green, the new Knockouts tag champions, walk up. Deonna Purrazzo says, "Oh, the sportsman wants to shake hands. Maybe that's why you're the shortest reigning tag team champion ever." Um, when we won them on our first try. So then Mia Yim comes up and says, "Well, I respect Jordan, and she doesn't have to stand alone. I'll stand by her side and whip both your butts. Put the titles on the line," Mia Yim says. So Vex says fine, and then they leave. So wow, I figured Vex would have said no, but this must be about what the Iceman Intel on BTI was talking about, where he said Deonna was gloating around backstage saying she was going to be the champ soon. So this must be some kind of scheme where Vex feel like they can win this tag title match, defend the titles, and then Deonna might have a leg up to say, "Hey, I gave you a title match. How about a title match for me?" So that might be the plan here. Otherwise, you would have always expected Vex to say no here. So that should be interesting, and that will happen next week, that big title match. So Chris Bay now comes out. Speaking of title matches, this is going to be for the X Division title, a title that Chris Bay lost and never got a rematch for. So he's going to go up against one of the most fighting champions in the entire world currently. Coming out to defend his title is Speedball Mike Bailey. I would have him in the top 10 in the world in 2022. Just my opinion. Speedball Mike Bailey is wrestling so many matches, and every single one seems to be a banger. So this is a big match here. There's no Ace Austin or other Bullet Club member ringside. So, but Speedball might have to look out for them at some point. Although Bullet Club weirdly seem to be babyface in the Impact, so maybe not. Anyway, they start with some really fast-paced grappling, and Bailey gets the better of them here. Bailey gets a shoulder tackle, but Chris nips right up, hits a shoulder tackle back, and Speedball nips up, getting the better of Chris again, who bails out of the ring. So Chris baits Mike in and hits a hot shot across the ropes. Outside the ring now, Chris just barely avoids going into the ring post, and then Chris hits a slingshot DDT. Really good match so far. So the X Division is so stacked right now. That's why I keep saying we need X Division tag titles. Let the Motor City Machine Guns win them for the first time and then defend them for a while. And then you've got you could have Speedball Mike Bailey defend the title for an entire year as a fighting champion, and then everyone else in the meantime could go after the X Division tag titles. Anyway, Speedball then, or they both exchange strikes here, and then Speedball wins this striking exchange with a Claymore kick or a one-footed drop kick. Then Mike follows that with a nasty kick combo here, and Chris evades the standing Phoenix Splash. What a crazy move every time that's hit. Even if it doesn't hit, you know what I mean? Chris then hits a kick and goes up top to the ropes, but Mike drops back and nips up to avoid the diving attack. So he drops back to his back and then quickly nips up. That's awesome. Mike now hits some rapid kicks and lines up for a stiff penalty kick. Mike then hits a standing moonsault knee drop, but Chris hits a flatliner soon after that. Still some fight in him. This is anyone's match here. And again, this is for the X Division title. So Speedball now rolls out of the ring, and Chris dives to the outside. Mike's able to evade it and then hit an acai moonsault off the ropes to the outside on the Chris. Chris then hits a kick and dives out of the ring himself on the Speedball. Really good match back and forth. Both men are just have a lot of fight in them. But Chris did land hard on that dive to the outside. That might have hurt him as well. Now Speedball Mike Bailey gets caught on the top rope. Chris goes up to the top rope, hitting a double stomp while Mike was on the ropes. That looked awesome. Chris now goes back up to the top and lands on his feet after Speedball moves out of the way, but Chris counters a kick and then hits a Liger bomb, only getting a 2 count. really good one here. Chris Bay now telling everyone, don't forget about me, basically, in this match. Mike then counters the art of finesse, and then they both hit kicks and counter here. It was such an insane flurry. I couldn't even describe it. You're going to have to see the ending of this match for sure, if not the whole thing. But right after that flurry of kicks, Speedball is able to get Chris down and hit the Ultima weapon off the ropes for the 1-2-3. So the winner of this match by pinfall and still X Division champion, Speedball Mike Bailey. So what a great match here. Definitely check this one out. I don't know if it was it was definitely the singles match of the week, but we have a 6-man tag later, and that 4-man X Division tag match, just regular 4-way, was great earlier. So this was definitely by far the best singles match of the week. I mean, just like Impact. And so what's going to be next for Speedball Mike Bailey? If it is indeed the person that won the 4-way earlier, Black Taurus, that's kind of a bad matchup for Speedball, where Black Taurus has agility and size, and that size is going to be tough for Mike Bailey. I feel like Black Taurus could absorb some of those big kicks, unlike a lot of the other X Division guys. So if it is going to be Black Taurus against Speedball Mike Bailey, that might be the toughest test yet. So I'm expecting that to happen at some point. We get a quick little flashback moment of the week here. It was last year's Victory Road, which is coming up soon in a month here, where Christian Cage defended the Impact title against Ace Austin in the main event. So in the back now, Brian Myers is holding on to his digital media title, and he runs in the Bhupinder Gujar, who Myers cheated the beat, and he also broke Gujar's undefeated streak at the same time, and he retained his title that way by holding on to the ropes. So Myers says, "Oh, get to the back of the line." Then Gujar puts his hand on him. So Myers goes to punch Gujar, who blocks it. Gujar now says, "You're not done with me. You pissed me off, and this is far from over." So Myers looks a little confused here as we go to a commercial break. So it looks like Brian Myers is not done with Bhupinder Gujar. And then we're shown next week on Impact. Like I said earlier, the Knockouts Tag Team title match will be Vex defending against Jordan Grace and Mia Yim, who Jordan Grace and Mia Yim had a classic Knockouts match just last week at Emergence. Also, we'll be seeing Jessica, formerly known as Havoc, in her quote-unquote ring debut. I mean, she's been as Havoc for a long time. This is her alter ego. Also, it'll be Violent by Design in a 6-man tag against Time Machine, and that's Kushida, Alex Shelley, and Chris Sabin. So it sounds like a good Impact. There was another match we mentioned earlier as well. I can't quite remember what it was. Yeah, I can't remember. So it is time for the main event. We still got 30 minutes left in the show, but since this is a huge match that also happens to have 6 men in it, and it's elimination style. So there's going to have to be 5 pinfalls and submissions for this match to end. The last man standing will be in the main event of the biggest show of the year, Bound for Glory, in a title shot for the Impact World title. So Eddie Edwards comes out first, accompanied by all members of Honor No More, but they have to leave once the match starts. And if you're wondering, this match is not it is not no DQ, as in there are disqualifications. You can just be eliminated if you are disqualified. Since it's elimination style, there are disqualifications. Sammy Callahan's the second one out, and then we go to an ad break. So unfortunately, when we come back, poor Macklin and Bandido didn't get their entrances shown on TV. And we get Rich Swann dancing to the ring. And when we do come back, I was thinking maybe a little bit of mistake. Not the people might not have saw Bandido at Emergence and might not know who he is. So let that guy get an entrance on TV. But if they don't know who Bandido is, they'll find out soon enough, because he was made for multi-man matches. Eventually, Moose comes out last. Moose won the Impact title at last year's Bound for Glory, right after Josh Alexander won the title in the main event, hitting a spear with Josh's little son in the ring. That set up a huge, long rivalry where it took a while and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but Josh Alexander eventually got his title back, and that's the title that he still has right now. So this match right now is going to be tag team style, or not team, but just tag style. So it's 6 men, elimination, 2 in the ring at a time. The other 4 have to wait on the outside and tag in. So obviously, since that's the rules, you do not want to be in this match. If you're not in the match, if you're not a legal participant in the match, you can't be pinned or submitted. As long as you're in the ring, then you can be. So that's going to be something you want to keep in mind. Bandido and Rich Swann are going to start this match, and they get some really quick pace and athletic counters and flips to start this one. So great start here, elite level agility on that one from both Bandido and Rich Swann. The crowd's going absolutely wild now, but Eddie Edwards tags himself in, and the crowd instantly boos. So he tagged Bandido, and now Rich Swann is in there with Eddie Edwards. Rich hits a Hurricane Rana and a kick, and then Sammy Callahan tags in, and he hits a double team with Rich Swann on the Eddie, but Sammy tags Rich Swann right back in. So that was smart there. Sammy didn't want to stay in the ring, which, like I said, you can't be eliminated if you're not in the ring. Swann now dives out of the ring onto Eddie Edwards and Steve Macklin, and I have no idea why Macklin was over there and not just on the apron. So this is kind of a weird match. Not exactly what I was thinking we were going to get. I thought it was going to be a 6-man, but it's not bad. It definitely makes it easier to follow. And like I said, there's a lot of strategy to it as well. So like how Sammy tagged right back out after using a double team, and he didn't want to be in there to be eliminated. So we had went to a commercial right after that dive to the outside. So when we come back, Rich Swann is beating up Eddie Edwards in the ring, but Moose grabs Rich Swann by the hair from outside. Moose now tags Eddie so that he can come in the ring and attack Rich Swann. Moose now tags in Macklin, and then they hit a couple shots here. Macklin tags in Moose. They didn't hit a double team on either of those, though, so I don't get the point. Anyway, Macklin tags back in, hits a backbreaker on Rich Swann, who's now isolated and in trouble. Macklin keeps Rich in the corner that has Moose in it. And still, it's not like this is the best strategy, because the best strategy is to not even go in the ring, which Sammy Callahan's been doing a good job, and Bandido's kind of been chilling over there since the beginning as well. Sammy Callahan now tags in because he wants to take out Steve Macklin, but Moose runs in right away. Sammy's able to avoid the attack, but Moose hits Macklin instead when he avoided. Anyways, Sammy hits a palm strike, getting Moose out of the ring. Then Macklin counters to take back control, but Moose tags in, and Sammy fights off their double team again. But Steve Macklin grabs the eyes of Sammy while Moose hits a spear. He was the legal man, and so was Sammy, and this gets the 1-2-3. Sammy Callahan has been eliminated. Then Macklin rolls up Moose right after that for the 1-2-3. Moose has been eliminated. Wow. I did not see that coming. Sammy now fights with Moose and Macklin outside the ring. Bandido hits a Fosbury flop from the inside to the outside on all of them. Then Bandido hits the 21 plex. That's amazing springboard German suplex thing. And that's hit on Steve Macklin for the 1-2-3. Steve Macklin has been eliminated. And then we go to a commercial break. So, wow. Sammy Callahan and Moose had to be two of the favorites coming into this match, and they were eliminated first. So this is definitely Eddie Edwards' match to win now. But I definitely see a lot of people who aren't Impact fans, if they see the main event of Bound for Glory is Eddie Edwards against Josh Alexander, on paper that even to me doesn't look that great. And if they're not Impact fans, they're definitely going to make fun of Impact. But if you're an Impact fan, the match should be fine if that's what we get. So anyway, it would definitely be the best option would be Bandido. But I don't even know if he's with Impact full time. So, but that would be the wildest match and the best match on paper for non-Impact fans to see and maybe think, oh, maybe I'll check this out. So that leaves Rich Swann as the other option, who lost his title to Kenny Omega and never got a rematch for it. And Rich Swann was a pretty good champion throughout pretty much all of 2020. So far, like I said, Bandido would be the best option, but I don't even know if he's with the company. Impact fans would be fine if Eddie Edwards is the one to win, since it fits the whole story going on currently. So now those are the final three. When we come back from break, let's find out who goes on the main event, Bound for Glory, the biggest show of the year. So Bandido and Rich Swann are fighting in the ring when we come back. They're hitting big strikes back and forth while running. Eddie tags Rich in and takes control once the other two were already worn out. So good strategy there from Eddie. They had just both worn each other out. Eddie can come in and try and take somebody out, and maybe both of them. Eddie drops a knee on the head, and then the crowd all chants for Bandido here. So like I said, Bandido would have been the best choice, and the crowd absolutely loves him. Bandido then hits a twisting springboard attack on Eddie. I love that. That looked amazing. But Eddie then slaps Rich Swann right in the face, and that counted as a tag as well. Rich didn't like that too much, so he punches Eddie. But then Bandido hits a Spanish fly on Rich Swann. Bandido now lifts Rich Swann up with one arm. Then Bandido hits a pop-up cutter, and Rich Swann's just barely able to kick out of that one. And Bandido's probably twice as good as Eddie Edwards. He's just so good and silky smooth. So that would have been the best choice to be at Bound for Glory. But I understand if he's not going to be an Impact guy, you don't want a non-Impact guy in your main event of your biggest show. Anyway, Rich Swann now hits a nice roundhouse kick and then a cutter on Bandido. Swann now hits a big kick to the face, goes up to the top ropes and hits the Phoenix Splash. But Eddie Edwards had made a blind tag. Eddie comes in hitting the Boston Knee Party on Rich Swann, who is not the legal man. Eddie now covers Bandido, getting the 1-2-3. Bandido has been eliminated. So wow, there's that strategy coming into play here. Rich Swann is now down hurt while Eddie just got the cover, making it just those two now, Rich Swann and Eddie Edwards, who then Eddie hits some chops in the lariat for a 2 count. Eddie hits a running forearm for another 2 count. So not looking good here for Rich Swann, who's definitely in trouble. Everything on the line here. Rich was in the match more than anybody, and he's definitely tired and beat up. Eddie now throws Swann into the corner, and it was like Rich Swann was in slow motion from all the damage he's taken. Eddie then takes forever to do anything here, so Rich Swann is able to hit a kick and then a nice Hurricane Rana. Swann now hits a super kick and the black mass kick for a 2 count. Eddie rolls out of the ring now and pulls out a kendo stick from under the ring. And remember, if he hits him and the referee sees it, he would be DQ'd. The match would be over. But somehow the referee is backing off Rich Swann here, super close, and it makes a loud noise when it hits. The kendo stick hits Rich Swann in the head, but the referee didn't seem to question it. But Rich Swann's able to kick out of this at a 2 count anyway. And then right after, Eddie Edwards goes for the Boston Knee Party, but Rich Swann ducks underneath that. Then Rich Swann counters a Tiger Driver into a pin, only getting a 2 count. But that was almost a win there and a really good last part of this match here. So now Eddie counters a handspring kick with a Blue Thunder Bomb and then hits the Boston Knee Party. But somehow Rich Swann had the fight and fire in him to kick out. But Eddie hits that Die Hard Driver right after that, and it gets the 1-2-3. The winner of this match and main eventing Bound for Glory for the Impact World Championship, Die Hard Eddie Edwards, the leader of Honor No More. So wow, I mean, I figured this would happen for the next title shot, but I didn't quite expect Eddie Edwards to get the title shot in the main event of Bound for Glory. Like I said, non-Impact fans are going to take one look at Eddie Edwards being in the main event, and they're all going to make fun of Impact. If you put someone else in there that might get them to say, that might be a good match, I might check this out, that'd be better move. But for the Impact fans that actually watch every week, I mean, this is a fun move. It's good for the story. We've been setting up this story for 2 weeks now with Eddie Edwards talking to Josh Alexander, telling them what it's like once you're not a champion, how the other side and how management treats you when you're a former champion and stuff. We even saw it again with Vincent talking to Josh Alexander as well. So that's going to be interesting. We've got a big Impact next week. Then there might be another special. I'm not quite sure if it was just another round of tapings. I think that's probably what it was. But I'll look into that and I'll cover that next week as well. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to get going. If you missed my Emergence review, definitely go check that out on the show. Otherwise, I've got all the G1 finals for just finished today, and I've got a review up for that, as well as every other New Japan show, WWE, AEW, every Impact. So check that out. Give me a subscribe and a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a good one. Peace.